Welcome to another episode of No Longer Black in Silence. I'm your host, Lion Talk P.
And I'm your co-host, Shadana Cheney.
In the building today, we have a very special guest. You know, he's a friend of mine, a brother of mine. He's someone who's out here pushing hope. In the building today, we have none other than Blake Simon. What's up, Blizzy?
Killer. What it do?
How you living, man? How are you, man?
Man, I'm good. Steady grind.
Steady grind?
You know what stage we in right now.
The struggle stage?
It's the foundation.
You're looking
stage.
good. I see you got your Black History shirt on.
Black history in the making.
Current Black history and Black history in the making. Just letting them know that we out here.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know. And then if anybody got a problem with why we wearing this shirt, it's just because they ain't endured what we've endured. So we got the privilege to wear shirts like this.
Okay, the struggle is real, huh?
Yeah, we're still living it from a certain standpoint. Blizzy, man, it's good to have you on. I was looking forward to this, man, because I thought you was going to be that person that kind of bring that push, you know what I'm saying, to get us out there, you know, that tenacity, you know. So, first and foremost, I want to start off, like, where you from, man?
Well, I was born in Lafayette, Louisiana, Lafayette General. Actually raised in a small town about 15 minutes from Lafayette called Kaplan, Louisiana. Also spent some time in Abbeville, Louisiana. So those are small towns. Moved to Houston whenever I was 9 years old. The woman that raised me, she wasn't my biological parent. Biological parents was involved with drugs one way or another. And we moved because of her health issues. So at 9 years old, moved to Texas. She ended up passing away 2 years later whenever I was 11, and then we moved to Missouri City, and then I spent most of my time adolescent years especially in Missouri City until I went to Prairie View.
So you traveled a lot.
No, not really traveled a lot. It's just Texas and Louisiana.
Yeah. Well, you moved to different places.
A route of survival.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you said she passed when you were 11. So were you taking care of yourself or a sibling or aunt, an uncle? Or?
No, so her biological daughter, which is my sister, that's who I ended up staying with after she passed away. So from the age 11 till about, 16, 17, 18, around that time, around, like 16 is when I probably jumped off the porch. I had a semester actually in my high school years where I stayed by myself for about like half the semester in my junior year. So that's my first experience living as a semi-adult. Something that happened that I don't want to speak on. Where it was, a legal situation with my ex brother-in-law, and so I ended up having to stay by myself. So, I mean, she took care of me, and then it's been me ever since.
So were these like just good Samaritans? Like you're talking about a mother and a daughter who virtually took care of somebody who wasn't technically related or blood. You know what I'm saying? Like, were they these good Samaritans? Like, how did you know her, like, to begin with? Like, how did she find Blake, you know what I'm saying, in Abbeville, Louisiana?
I didn't preface everything by saying I was born in 1987.
Okay.
If anybody knows anything about the history in this country, in 1987, that was probably around the highest time of drug usage.
Yeah, crack usage.
Like many people, I was impacted by that. So it was not something that people looked at as non-traditional when somebody else is getting raised. When you're getting raised by somebody else,
right,
that's not your parent. Most people, it was the grandmother, it was an aunt, it was somebody else, but most people was getting raised by another person that wasn't their biological parent, and I was no different, especially when you're in that environment. Right. To other people, that may seem crazy, but to us, you'd be like, "Oh, well, yeah, you don't know your brothers and sisters." Nah, we wasn't raised together.
Right.
That's normal. But to go back to the question directly, she was a close friend of the family per se. I can get deeper into it.
Yeah.
But she was around. The woman who was babysitting me, who happened to be like my aunt, who was also my three oldest brothers' mama, because my father, that was his first baby mama. She was babysitting me, and the woman that ended up raising me, she was married to her brother.
Gotcha.
So she was at her sister-in-law's house, and from what I heard, she would go over there and visit every weekend, and then one weekend she was like, "I'm gonna just take him," and then it never got disputed. So a few times throughout my life early, my grandmother was like, "Yeah, we want him back," but my mama was like, "Y'all want him for a check," and I ain't giving them up for that. So it was, just that type of situation.
Seen some value in you.
Seemed like you learned survivor skills at a very young age.
Yeah. And I mean, if you ask some of my cousins in the family that I was raised in, they might say I was spoiled. But for me, I was like, no, I was working hard. And when I was rewarded, I wanted to reap the benefits. So if I had to sit here and learn the states in alphabetical order. And that meant that once I do that, I get to play my Nintendo game. When y'all come over and y'all want to watch Hanging with Mr. Cooper, no, we're not finna do that. We're going to play my Nintendo game.
Because I've put in some work.
So I'm not being
Nintendo.
spoiled. I was showing that I wanted to reap the benefits of the hard work I put in. So that's what she was instilling in me. It was more so like, I mean, I wasn't wanting for nothing, but she was letting me know that you're going to have to work for something.
You got to put in and
So,
take out.
did you have a mentor growing up, or did you have like a really good black male influence in your house?
Well, in the house, when you say good black male influence,
Yeah.
so I mean, I've had black male influences all throughout my life, and at the beginning stages, in the first half, most of it was negative, but I used it as a positive. I never looked at what black males did, even when it was negative, as far as doing drugs, selling drugs, or anything within that realm, and said that, okay, I'm gonna follow that lead. I've always looked at it and said, because they're doing it, I see what not to do.
Right.
My biological father wasn't consistently in my life, so I say, when I do have kids, I want to make sure that I'm in their life.
Right.
Wow.
I see them on hard drugs like that. I'm never gonna do those types of things, and I'm using it as a example of what not to do more so. And then in the second half of my life, as I grew and played sports, I had black positive male role models in coaching.
Gotcha.
Wow. So
To touch on the point you just said, that's been a focal point of my life as well. Like, sometimes you know what not to do by those who are around you. You know, so you may not have it all figured out on how to get to where you're going, but you know what not to do, because you can kind of see the reflection of where that leads you.
Yeah, it's no excuses in life, man. When you dealt a certain hand of cards, it's meant for you to play that.
Yeah.
People ain't getting those cards because they can't handle it. So when you get that, you got to play that because you getting them because you can handle it.
Right.
You ain't get nothing you can't handle. Because when you come through that, you're gonna be so much tougher. But if you quit, then you ain't gonna pass the test. And you ain't gonna get that gift that's at the end. Yeah.
So thinking about your history and where you come from, who is Blake now? Like, what is Blake? Tell the people who you are and what you do.
Before we jump to that, we got to kind of back up. We got to talk about his transition from high school to college. Because you mentioned that you went to school, right?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, so you went to, what high school did you attend?
I went to Thurgood. Well, let me not leave anything out. Coming out of Missouri City Middle School, I went to Hightower High School for the first year, and my high school experience was unique because they built another high school closer to where I stayed in Missouri City called Thurgood Marshall High School. So I was actually the first graduating class. And when I say that, I mean they opened the school with sophomores, which was my class, and freshmen, and then for every year we were the highest class. So we had our own school. It was an amazing experience, and I take pride in where I come from as far as Thurgood Marshall High School. But yeah, I went to Thurgood Marshall High School in Missouri City.
Thurgood Marshall High School. Shout out to Mo City City ISD, the way I look at it.
Yeah.
So
one time.
when it was time for you to pick colleges, man, how did that decision work out? Did you go to college straight out of high school? Did you stay at home and work? You went to, how did that whole transition happen? Man,
no, it took me a year and a half. I went to college in 2007, spring, and I graduated from high school in 2005. So it took me a year and a half. When I was in high school, my focus was mainly on girls, making money, which I sold drugs. I worked at Target. I always had some type of flow of income. And then I also focused on sports. But I didn't work hard enough to get a scholarship or to excel in sports. So I was putting all of my focus in areas where I didn't really reap any benefits of that after high school. So as a result, when everybody else graduated and was making the move and making the transition, I was sitting at the crib.
Because you had yet to exert yourself.
I wasn't applying for the colleges. So it was two things. I didn't have the focus, and then I didn't have the guidance. It wasn't anybody that was there telling me exactly the steps that I needed to do, and then it wasn't me giving the effort.
So you're talking about a year and a half, man. A lot can happen. When did it click? Like, when did you wake up and it was like, yo, I need to go to school? I moved away from. I sold drugs in high school, and we had a scary experience where they searched everybody. So somebody snitched and told that it was a few people doing some things that they shouldn't have been doing. Somebody warned me right before the class period where they can't pull me out to search me. So I didn't get caught. So after I had a few experiences, I was like, well, I don't want to deal with that because I'm the type of person, I don't want to deal with those consequences. I ain't never been to jail. I ain't trying to go to jail. Right. So I was on those I was doing moving trucks. I was doing all kind of different jobs, and I did a move.
moving somebody from like the 3rd floor to the 3rd floor. And I was like, this type of labor is not what I envisioned myself doing unless it was sports.
Right.
So one of my boys actually one day contacted me and was like, man, I'm transferring from TSU to Prairie View, come with me. When I first filled out the application, I think I put business on the application. And then I ended up switching to criminal justice. And the reason that came about is because I had a cousin. We went to school on a basketball scholarship, and I remember having a conversation with him about criminal justice being easy. So really, I was looking for the easy way out, even when I got to college, because I was just like, I just want to get there, get out of my environment, and get around something new. So initially, I was studying criminal justice, and that's actually what I got my undergraduate degree in.
So when you went to college, did you see a transform in yourself, like as far as being around other leaders on campus or
Definitely.
like-minded people or educated people, things that you weren't used to seeing growing up?
Yeah.
What was that experience like?
Definitely. It was a change. It was a change of the environment. College more than anything, like I told these students I spoke to last week, you get experience. Mm-hmm. I remember my experiences way more than I remember anything in the books. So when I got to college, I put myself in an environment where I was around brothers that you see dressed up every Tuesday. Mm-hmm. Not to say that I didn't go to school with women that carried themselves in such a way, but you get around a college atmosphere and you're around a plethora of women that's carrying themselves in that way. Mm-hmm. So you just you get around people that's speaking about different things than what's who you trying to smash or who you done had sex with. You get around people that's talking about what's the world issues. So you change your environment, you change your conversation, which also allows you to change your mindset. Right. But that's if you put yourself out there like that. Some people go to college and they get involved in other things.
Yeah, I can totally agree and definitely relate. Going to college, I went to HBCU, Prairie View. Woo, woo.
Yeah, I think everybody Prairie View on the pod.
I definitely felt like
let's not shy away.
Yeah,
definitely.
Let's let them know.
Prairie View produces productive people.
I really felt like I was transformed at Prairie View, like going to college, being around African Americans, people that look like me. I wasn't used to seeing black men in suits. I wasn't used to seeing black men that talk about issues about policy and take on leadership roles. And I just felt like I could be free at Prairie View. Mm-hmm. I studied abroad for the first time. I went to Africa, and that really changed me. That was the first time I really felt connected to the African diaspora. Yeah. I would call myself African American, but I felt more American. But studying that African sense just really gave me a sense of who I was as a person and an identity.
Yeah, and I know I actually admire your college experience because I know you were taking the opportunities to make somebody's experiences. You went to study at Indiana too?
I studied abroad. I did National Student Exchange. That's where you study at one school for a semester or a year. So I went to Indiana for a full year. I went to a predominantly white school, Purdue University. Yeah. And I said, I'm already at a black school. When I get out into the real world, it's not just going to be black people. So I want the best of both worlds. Yeah. So I took on that opportunity.
So college is one of those things, man. It's a tool belt. Yeah. It's only as best as what you kind of equipped it with, like what you're trying to build with it. Like people think college is the end of all when it's actually what helps you create your end to all. Yeah. You know what I mean? And speaking of college, are you actually in the profession that you declared as a major?
No. Actually, when I graduated from college, I went into working in financial aid. So, just like with high school, when I came through college, when I got towards the end, I realized that I really didn't put my focus towards what I needed to be doing to get to the next level. So when I graduated, I didn't have a job, and that same anxiety started to kick in. That kicked in after high school. Like, okay, what I'm gonna do? So I started applying for jobs, and I finessed my way into a job working in financial aid. I did the quick research study, did very well in the interview, got an offer letter, and of course I accepted it. Right. So I went into working in financial aid, distributing Title IV funds, learning about how to help students and families transition to college in the aspect of utilizing financial aid. But with that also comes, registration, admissions, and you learning about the whole higher education experience period as a professional.
So now you went straight from being a student, man, to being a form of an administrator.
Yeah, it was about 2 months.
Yeah, so how was that transition? Like, because you may get some swift transitions to go from the side of it where we all at PV and we may need financial aid and you probably don't have nobody to talk to about it, wasn't very informed about it, and the literacy wasn't given to us like firsthand to now being a person who can kind of be the source of that. Like, it's a responsibility at hand.
Well, it's two things. One thing, I used that in my interview. I was like, look, I was just a student, and I know what the students looking for. I know what the students need, and if y'all really want to change the way this office is viewed and the way that students have to wait 6 hours, get some young people in here that can relate to the students, and that's going to work swiftly. At the time, the financial aid counselors had been working there for 30, 40 years. Nothing against them, but they simply just naturally couldn't move as fast. They weren't thinking as fast, and they weren't relating the same way.
Probably utilizing old methods for modern problems.
Yeah, and I use that as an advantage, me being a student that's just transitioning into the professional world. But the other side was you have to make the transition from a student to a professional.
Right.
So I'm going from being in class with somebody like, what's up, Blake, to 2 months later, I'm handling their financial aid. And they coming back there, they looking at the time we were in cubicles before we were in offices. And they come back like, what's up, Blake? You want them to no, it's Mr.
Simon.
Hold on. So, and they like, oh, so you a counselor? How'd you get that? I'm like, sir, just have a seat. What's your student ID number?
Right.
And then, I mean, with everything, just the different type of relationships you have with people, you have to learn how to evolve and become a professional.
Yeah.
Right. So how long did you stay in that profession?
I did it for about as long as I could.
What's as long as you could, man?
So I did it for 4 years. I started October 15th, 2011, and I resigned October 25th, 2015.
I mean, come on. You got a salary job. You have a college degree. So, you have some type of financial responsibilities. What made you walk away from something that seemed to be safe? Like, it seemed that if you stayed in it long enough, maybe you can get that promotion or move up, or like, what made you walk away from something that seemed to be secure at the moment?
Well, that was one. Well, first off, I got balls, so if I'll make a move, I ain't scared. And then the second thing was I didn't see that growth. I didn't see promotions coming. I didn't see. I didn't see that what you just explained. I didn't see me becoming not in that environment.
Right.
That's what I would have wanted, and I actually got blessed. I applied for a job in the same office, didn't get the position. Somebody that wasn't as worthy as me, in my opinion, and many others got the position over me. But that was a blessing in disguise, because if I had got that position, it probably would have kept me there for at least another 4 or 5 years.
Right.
So when I didn't get that position, I became salty, and then I started really thinking like, look, you don't have no kids, you ain't married, you ain't invested in certain things. Like, if you're gonna ever make a move like this is the time. And I wanted to impact youth on my own platform. The platform that I had in financial aid allowed me to impact youth, no doubt, but I couldn't do it the way I wanted to do it. I was in a toxic environment. When I made suggestions like, let's get these high school students this knowledge, so that whenever they get here, they don't have to wait in the line for 6 hours and learn.
Right.
They need to get it in high school, get the financial aid literacy.
It sounded like too much work.
Yeah,
That's
well,
so true.
It's not even the work. It's just about the credit. If you don't come up with the idea, it's like you can't push it forward. So when you see somebody who, most people, and this is the problem, when you see somebody who you deem as a threat, when you see somebody who you see that's young and they got that it too, and they passionate, people get scared of that.
Oh, definitely. I've experienced it in my own professional walks in life. I think what people are scared of is that the weird thing for me in life is always a transition happening, and there's adjustments need to be made. I think people need to start embracing the people with the vigor, the new attitudes, and the ideas, because that's what society is gearing itself to. Because to have everybody in the office and everybody get used to this, taking a paycheck home and just doing enough to say they have a job, that's what creates these bad systems. That's why financial aid took you 6 hours to stand in line, because they could be maximizing their time and becoming more efficient, but they're so used to just doing enough to keep a job that, hey, they could wait.
Well, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And I saw a quote about 2 weeks ago now that explained that perfectly to me, and it was and the question was, how much does your job pay you not to chase your dreams?
And that's
so
what
for
I
the
was
people
gonna
for the
say.
people that's not happy, that's who that applies to.
Yeah.
If you're not happy and you're truly passionate about doing something else, but you still doing something that you don't enjoy doing, how much are you really getting paid not to chase your dreams?
And some people don't
Not
do their
enough.
job because they feel like they're not getting paid enough.
Yeah,
So if
but
you're not being compensated, you being overworked and undercompensated, then of course you're not going to do your job
there's
to
a
its
difference.
maximum.
There's a difference between a person who chooses to be an employee and a person who chooses to be the source of their own gifts. And so people be wanting 6-figure paydays for doing minimum work that just makes you an employee.
But sometimes people feel entitled when they got the degrees. And also,
we black.
but I mean, you didn't put in work. You didn't went to college for 4 or 5 years. You didn't accumulated loans. Why shouldn't you be compensated? That's another thing.
Yeah, but you determine your level of compensation.
I was gonna say, you have to grind at the end of the day. Now everybody don't have that grind in them. No, and no doubt. Look, people. Look, let's measure up the black and white thing. Look, people need to understand this. A lot of these white kids, they getting trained for these jobs at a young age. They really be qualified. You got to make yourself more qualified than them. And it ain't even a white and black thing. This is just about wanting it. People be asking for things that they don't really put in the work for.
Right.
You acting like you deserve something that you ain't really put in the work for. Like, just because you have a degree.
Well, how do you?
Just because you have a degree, that don't mean that you're entitled.
How do you put in the work? Because my thing is, when you graduate from college, you got your 4-year degree.
Yeah.
You go look for a job. They want you to have 2 and 3 years of experience. Where am I supposed to get this experience from? And I just graduated.
But what they're telling you in that hidden language is this: if you spent 4 years in college, that means after your first year in college, you could have went and became an intern. If you would have spent the next 3 years being an intern, you would have had the 2 to 3 years of experience that they're requesting you to have.
But,
it's like a game inside the game.
But that's knowledge. If you're not given that knowledge and that information, you don't know.
Right.
Well, that's why
Granted,
I resigned.
But
That's
this is
why I
my
resigned
thing.
from the job.
It's all about knowing. If you don't know that you need an internship, your parents telling you need to go to college.
Yeah, but see, you're talking about generations of people who didn't probably attend school to begin with. So that's when he brought up the white counterpart. The game is different.
Yeah.
You're talking about networking. When I was at PV, we used to go to A&M. We knew a cat that went to A&M who dropped out of school his junior year. He had a $5,000 a month expense account from his job because he went to work for his father's best friend who was a president of an oil company. Mm-hmm. You get what I'm saying to you? So he just went to school for the hell of it, for the experience. Mm-hmm. You went to school because you had to finish. Yeah. And once you get them loans in your name to not finish, it sounds like an idiotic idea.
But that's where that entitlement comes from, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, but the only thing you was entitled to was debt. Like, and to be honest,
but you entitled to make a decent salary to compensate for your lifestyle.
Says who though? Because there's people who get out of high school and find ways to make 6 figures. There's people who get out of college and don't make more than $30,000 a year. At the end of the day, you determine your trajectory.
But you gotta have that mindset. You gotta have people motivating you.
No, you don't. If
yes,
you went
you
to college
do. Everybody's not self-motivated.
Well, you shouldn't have stepped foot on the college campus.
Everybody is not self-motivated.
You shouldn't have stepped foot on the college campus.
I stepped foot on the college campus because I had to go to college.
So
I had my father in my ear. When I graduated, he said, "You better be in somebody's college." I spent 5 years in college.
I think both of y'all right.
It's too much to it.
So you have to be self-motivated, and you have to have a little guidance.
You gotta have
because
some
we
guidance.
Don't know. So that's why I resigned from my job to do what I do now, and put myself in a position to where I can go teach these kids some of these things that I know now that I didn't know then.
So let's talk about that. What are you doing now? Like,
now I speak and I'm an author, but the main thing is I help students transition to their next level, whatever that next level is. So if you're in middle school, making the transition to high school, that's what I'm helping you with. If it's high school to college, if it's college to the next level, at any point. Right now, I've already done what they are doing. Same thing with all of us. So we can all go give game to a younger student.
So you're trying to stop that 1.5 gap that it maybe took you from high school to college from ever existing.
No, it's not about a 1.5 gap. Some people need to take a 1.5 gap. Some people need to go to HCC. Some people don't even need to go to college. But it's just about knowing what you want to do.
I was about to say, but a 1.5 with purpose. Or even, if that gap, if you never go to college, you still want them to have an idea and a sense of purpose to what their next... You know what I'm saying?
I mean, at my old high school, it's about 300 seniors. I don't know how many of them really know what they want to do next in 5 weeks when they graduate.
They're teenagers. I'm 28, and half of the time I don't know what the hell I want to do.
That's not what I'm saying. When we talked about when we measured up their white and black.
Yeah,
these white kids, even if they don't know, their parents know what's about to happen.
Definitely, to them. Billy Bob can go be a cop or a firefighter.
And that's not every white kid, because everybody don't have that. But I'm talking about. Even some of the privileged black kids that's getting raised a better way now.
Yeah.
You're getting raised to a point. We have friends that been put in good situations. Right. Yeah. So everybody ain't put in that situation.
But what's weird though? I'm watching everybody who was funneled through that system of ideas starting to reject it itself, and now they want to step outside of it and be the entrepreneur or serve their purpose because they spent so long being in a cookie cutter mentality as far as then, and that's what happened. I think that's what the setup was. Go to college, get the good job. Nobody told us by the time we get out of school that the economy was still going to be recovering from a recession, that unemployment was still going to be high, that people are living longer and staying in the workforce longer, so the turnover is not what it once was. So they sold us on this idea of what it sounded like we should be doing, but nobody ever made provisions for us to actually come into the workforce in those massive numbers. Because you have more people going to college now than ever before.
But you got to realize a lot of people back then didn't have a choice. Like, they had to go and work for a company for 30 years or find a company that's going to pay them good benefits.
Why they didn't have a choice?
Because
that's all they knew. That's what their parents was telling them. That's how it was for me when I got my first job out of college.
Blake, you 87. I'm born in 88. What year you born in?
I'm born in 90.
But what I'm saying that still wasn't the game then, though?
What wasn't the game?
That same story was being told, that you should go to college, get a good job, work for 30 years.
But people was getting good jobs after high school.
It may not have been go to
my
college,
mama was able to get a good
education.
job straight after high school, and so she did 3 years of college, but she got settled within her job because she had good benefits and good stuff, so she stayed there.
No, I got what you're saying. I'm just saying at the end of the day, like, once you realize what you're witnessing, you got to make a decision.
The baby boomers, man, they were raised to work and retire after in 60 something or whatever it is.
Well, because life was good. You wasn't inheriting $60,000 worth of debt just to go to college back then.
The climate has changed. That's not the mindset now. That's
like, even when you got a degree, you got 3 side hustles. You know what I mean? Like, people be Uber drivers and got a full-time job with a salary and great benefits. Like, things have changed, and I think it's time that we adjust to them or help determine what the change is going to look like. Where are you? Like, you're a teacher, though, right?
Yes, I'm a teacher.
You don't like being a teacher?
I like being a teacher. I enjoy it, but it's not something that I'm passionate about. It's not something that I see myself long term. I'm an entrepreneur in spirit, and that's what I see myself doing long term. It was instilled in me from my father. He was an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
He said he didn't want to work for the white man for the rest of his life.
I like your dad.
I like my daddy too. Go ahead, daddy.
So, Blake, you said you're an author. You're a published author, right?
Yeah.
What
self-published?
Self-published author. So, what's the name of this book? And
how can we get it?
The book is called, my first published book is called The Transition Guide and Journal, a simple tool to help students maximize the college experience. You can get that off of BlakeMotivates.com, www.BlakeMotivates.com, at the shop for /shop. You can also get it on Amazon.com. Just type in The Transition Guide and Journal. That particular book is designed to help students maximize the college experience. Three sections. Half guide, half journal. It's only about 40 reading pages, easy to read for students. Gotcha. Discussing purpose. We're talking about goal setting. Also talking about things that'll directly help you maximize the college experience, like maximizing your campus resources, such as the library, the advising center, the counseling center, the health services, all of these different things that students pay for that a lot of students don't utilize that will help you get through. Talking about things like building relationships with your professors, understanding that a college professor is different than a high school teacher. Right. So you have to address that relationship accordingly. You have to know how to build a relationship with somebody that may have more things on their plate than a teacher that's trained through the state to teach you a certain way. So you have to understand how to read your syllabus. You have to understand how to go into the office hours. You have to understand how to come into the classroom, raise your hand, sit in the front so that you care. Ooh. So that if you need help at the end of the day, you'll be able to get it.
Hold on, Blizzy, don't tell them everything that's in the book.
Wait.
Like, they have to go buy it.
That's awesome.
We got
I'm an actual holder of the book, so I can speak for it. It's definitely a
mine is
good
signed.
book. I got mine signed too.
Yeah, I have a signed version.
We both got signed books. He's on the tour right now, so follow him on Blake Motivates on Instagram.
Instagram, Twitter, Blake Motivates, Facebook page, Blake Motivates, YouTube, Blake Motivates, and then LinkedIn.
I have a question before we wrap up. So you're a motivational speaker, you're an author. Is that something you see yourself doing in the near future? Is that your long-term goals, to continue speaking and writing more books? Or what do you want to do long-term? Where will Blake be in the next 5 to 10 years?
Just continue. I'm going to be the best person out there helping students transition to the next level.
Okay.
Nobody else going to do it like me. Nobody else can relate to students the way that I can and keep it real with them and then have them respond to that person the way that they can respond to me. So, I mean, when it comes to any school, any youth organization, any program that has college-bound students, students interested in entrepreneurship, students that want to go into their career directly. When they need a speaker or they need somebody to come in and run a training program or they need somebody to do anything, I'm going to be the first person that comes up in their mind, and the team, whoever the team is at that time. Yeah. But I truly believe that the future is within the youth right now. So if you pour into the youth right now, you pouring into the future.
I got you. So what are some of the challenges, I mean, as an entrepreneur that you take on a daily? Like, what will help you achieve this next step?
Capital and an assistant. So if anybody want to be an assistant, if anybody want to come jump on the team, help me get more organized, come get at me, and then capital. That's the main thing. If you have the funds to do what you need to do, you can do a lot more. There's plenty of conferences that I could register for right now. If I could pay for the conference, pay for the lodging, pay for the travel, and then have enough books to go out there and do what I got to do. But there's plenty of opportunities that's available to advance the business with capital and then with assistance. So me personally, getting to the next level, that's my two main challenges that I face.
But guess what? That's when you hustle harder.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
Be on your grind.
Now let me say this: that does not stop the grind. But just to get to the next level, I'm clearly aware of what I need, and that's that.
You're contributing. Like, there's been a lot made over the last couple of years about people doing positive things and what we need to see more of, especially in the black community. Why do you think it's been hard for you to actually find that team or that assistant or people who see what you're doing and they're like, yo, I want to be a part of that? Like, that looks like the next thing for us, you know what I mean, as a community.
I wouldn't say it's hard. You know, it's just a matter of it coming platonic, it being genuine.
Right.
Yeah, so it's gonna come when it's time to. Right now, that means that I haven't maximized my own abilities. That if I don't have it, that means I don't deserve it yet. But I know I need it. But when it's time, then that assistant will come in. When it's time, somebody can come drop that $100,000 check or even a $10,000. So
you're speaking like a man of faith. You know, like a man who like things have already been predetermined. You're just walking that journey to get there.
Walking by faith, not by sight.
Is that something like you subscribe to as a person? Like a belief or, you know what I'm saying, some form of ideology?
When I speak to students, I tell them that you need to have, first of all, faith in yourself. And I don't get too deeper than that when it comes to it. If you don't have faith in yourself, then you shouldn't expect nobody else to believe in you. And I tell them faith is followed by action and then followed by consistency. So, number one, I got faith in myself. I don't care what nobody else thinks. I don't care what nobody else has to say about me quitting the job with benefits and them being, and them being scared to chase their dreams. Then that's them. But you just have to, number one, have faith in yourself. So I got a solid foundation of faith that I can make it happen, period.
You're making it happen.
Yeah, you're doing your thing.
I think something I always tell those around me to be mindful of, we always speak on like if, or we speak in the future reference. Like, but if you stop and really look at the moment, like you're doing it. You know what I mean? And as long as you keep doing it consistently, it'll expand itself, but you're doing it. And I think people need to start giving themselves credit for that. Like, you're making that decision. Like, you are waking up and pulling up at the school. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're speaking, you're selling a book. Like, it's not if. It's not like it's supposed, like, it's happening. And, like, I think we need to all give ourselves credit for executing in the moment. Because then if we stop in that moment and realize we're doing it, when it's time for us to do it again, you're like, hey, I've been there before. You know what I mean? Like, this is nothing, you know. So I just want everybody to stay within that moment, man, because that's the beauty of what we do as entrepreneurs.
That's also the difficulty of what we do.
Yeah, but that's
especially
the beauty of it.
When you got that Mamba blood in you.
Yeah.
and you so
wait. Explain to the people what Mamba blood is, to the listeners, because we even have people in the room who looking like Mamba blood. Like, what are you talking? Voodoo? Like, what that boy talking about?
So, all right, yeah. That does sound far fetched for somebody that.
Yeah.
So I'm influenced by Kobe Bryant. Right. Who's a top athlete in my mind, but it's his competitive nature. And he's also known as the Black Mamba, based on the Black Mamba snake. And then you having that Mamba blood means that you have. And if you go look up a Black Mamba, you'll see what they're known for. Yeah. But it's about being deadly.
Okay. We're gonna leave it at that for your own interpretation.
And I go by Blake, aka the Killer.
The Killer. Right. Hey, we want to get into this week's Voices in History, so I'm gonna turn it over to my co-host. What we got going on today? Who we learning about?
We're going to talk about Dr. Boyce D. Watkins, who was born on June 20th, 1971 in Louisville, Kentucky. He is an author, economist, political analyst, and social commentator. He's been on several networks, including CNN, Fox News, MSNBC, and many more. He has authored several financial advice books, including Financial Love Making 101, Black American Money, and a list of others. One of his greatest quotes includes, African Americans should find a way to own the land on which you stand in order to truly be liberated in America. Watkins joined hip-hop mogul Russell Simmons to co-author a letter urging President Barack Obama when he was in office to put an end to Ronald Reagan's war on drugs. The letter acquired more than 175 signatures from celebrities and different activists. Simmons and Watkins together outlined specific programs the president could enforce to put an end to a war on drugs. That included supporting the youth prison reduction through opportunities, mentoring, and increasing transitioning programs for released inmates. Following his letter, President Obama declared the end of war on drugs with strategies to treat addictions and diverting nonviolent drug offenders into treatment instead of prisons. Obama also reduced the prison sentences to 20% to nonviolent offenders held on drug charges following early releases of hundreds of prisoners, majority African American, and more are still being released. So today, we salute Dr. Boyce D. Watkins, a living legend.
Speaking to the idea, man, Black history in the making, like, you're here, Blake, like, you've arrived. Like, you one of my partners, you know what I'm saying? Like, I know what you're capable of. I know you're gifted. So, for the last year, I've watched you push this book. You haven't even had a full year. So, what is, like, your message to the people? Like, as far as, like, when you look at our community and where we are, like, how do you feel you contribute? Like, what is your voice concerning them? Like, how are you going to encourage them to no longer be black and silent? You know what I'm saying? Like, where should their voice be? What should be our priority at this moment? What should be our focus? Where are we going in all of this?
I can't say what everybody's priority as a whole or everybody's focus should be. I should just say that everybody should just focus on themselves. Find what it is that you can do within what it is you want to do. Everybody don't want to push the culture forward. Everybody don't want to push the black community culture forward. And that's on them. Mm-hmm. But I can't sit there and complain about them not wanting to do that. All I can do is get out here and do what I know I need to do, which is to impact the youth. And if you impact the youth and you instill enough into them, then you change in the next generation. So you don't have to worry about what the current is doing. Because, I mean, there's too much going on. And if somebody don't understand what you have to be doing right now, especially, look at 45. We just came off of President Barack Obama, one of the most outstanding role models. I don't care what he did as a president, just role models, period. As being his campaign was hope. His campaign was change. So if he's gone and he's out the picture, it's on us to continue to push that forward. Right. And if people can't see that, then I'm not the one to try to convince them. I'm the one to do what I got to do to get the culture forward, to continue to push that hope, followed by action, and to continue to push that change. So me personally, you got to find what it is that you are supposed to be doing out here to get whatever it is you want done. If you really want to push the culture forward like I do, then I'm saying, okay, I'm going to do that by impacting the youth.
Right.
Or I'm going to do that by, okay, I worked 4 years in financial aid. I didn't want to do that, but I'd be crazy if I didn't utilize that knowledge to give to the students that need to understand, that need to know about financial aid. How many 30-year-old black males is it that understands the whole financial aid game? So whenever I go up in the schools and I'm talking to them and I can still relate to them, that's a gift. So
I'm
I'd
paying
be
them every
shysting.
month, and I still don't understand it.
Me too. So I would be shysting the youth if I have this knowledge. I got a degree in financial aid. I did it for 4 years.
Got you.
So I have to give that to them. So you find what it is that you have a skill in and that you're passionate about and combine the two as a whole to the whole community. Anybody else that wants to turn their passion into a career or a passion into a real live vision, take whatever it is that you're doing, turn that into a product and a service. I said that I was passionate about impacting youth, so I created the book, which is a product, and I started speaking, which is a service. So I'm not only doing this for the free, I'm doing this because I'm passionate about it. Then I found a way to monetize it. So if you really want to now, that's followed by grind. If you ain't willing to grind, that's something different. But if you really want to take it to the next level, if you really want to put yourself in a position, figure out how you can make the money, and then let's say, okay, if it's $2,000 that I'm getting paid a month, then let me figure out how I can make $2,000 selling my product and then replace that job.
Right.
Move yourself up out of there. Your insurance costs you about $12,000 a year. Figure out how you can make another $12,000 a year to pay for that. Let's get it.
Turn your experience into capital, man. Y'all heard it first from the homie Blake Motivates at IG. Blake Simon for the book.
It's Blake Simon, but when I moved to Texas, they start saying Blake
French.
Simon.
Yeah, because you know out here they don't speak with that tongue. You know what I'm saying?
So it's Blake Simon, Blake Simon. But the book is once again on Amazon. And it's also, but don't go to Amazon first. Go to BlakeMotivates.com first. Get it from me.
Yeah.
Always have them in person. If you're interested in sponsoring the book, I have different details. You can contact me at info@BlakeMotivates.com. You can also contact me via phone at 713-584-0770. You can either text me or call me.
Mike Jones got
you
rich
can
like
sponsor
that.
the books, and they will go to seniors at my old high school, or you can choose who the books go to if you want to donate them to your old high school. And I definitely believe everybody should impact their own communities. If you went to high school, send them to your old high school. Class of 2017 about to make a transition right now, and half of them don't know exactly what they want to do. Call them up, give them some games, send it as a graduation gift, send it as an incoming freshman gift. Do what you got to do. Get this book in the hands of every student in the nation that's making the transition, not only to college, but to the next phase.
Yo.
It's real. And it's a lot of people that don't know what they're about to do, and that's going to be the same people that's going to be that's going to be the leaders of the new generation. So we have to equip them with some tools, and if we don't take the opportunities to do it, and we don't take the initiative to do it, then who's going to do it?
Blake just spit knowledge on
I'm about
us.
to say, I don't know what else can be said to that. You know what I'm saying? Blake said everything and some, man. We really
Shadana
thank you.
told me I wasn't turned up. In the
that's what
room.
happened.
She
told him he
said,
wasn't
Blake, I
turned
need you to
up.
wake up.
He was dead when he got here.
Man,
I was
when
like,
the
you
mic
got on
was-
Black
I
History
feel
and
like you
making
got a
Come on,
hat.
it's time
I
to
feel
turn
like I
up.
should throw some money in the hat. You know
That's
what
like
I'm
when I
saying?
go to the schools, man. The administrators sometimes they don't know me. They ain't seen me speak really, and they like, do you need them? Do you need? I'm just like, no, I'm good. Once I get that mic in my hand, it's nobody's gonna disrespect.
Yeah.
You know, so
Yo,
let's
thank
get it.
you, bro. I really thank you for joining us. I thank you for no longer being black in silence. You know what I mean? Because every time we make those efforts and we live our passion, we're really being a voice for those who look like us and those who come from the environments we come from. So, you know, this your homie Blake, joining us.
And I want to say thank you all for creating a platform to be able to have people like me come on and be able to express what it is I do, and then have the audience learn a little bit more about what it took for me to get to this point.
Right.
And allow me to drop gems and allow you all to partake in the conversation and give gems as well.
Each one teach one. Like, we empowering one another.
Yes,
we learn
we
while we
are.
have these, you know what I'm saying? So, I'm your host, Lion Talk P.
And I'm your co-host, Shadana Cheney.
And this is No Longer Black in Silence. We out.